Welcome to the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. Are you over 40 and tired of struggling with your weight? Do you feel like you're constantly starting over with your nutrition and fitness? I'm Lil, a certified nutrition coach and former registered nurse, and I too have been there. At the age of 44, I decided I was done with being stuck in the vicious diet cycle. I became a nutrition coach and created the Feel Your Best Formula for women who are ready to do things differently. If you're ready to build a better relationship with food, get your energy back, build muscle, lose fat, and keep it off for good, then you're in the right place. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's build your formula for feeling your best. Hello, welcome to what will be the final episode of the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. I am Lil, and yes, you did hear me correctly. This is the final episode of the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. So I really just wanted to come on here to say thank you so much for listening to this podcast, sharing this podcast, and give you a bit of an explanation as to why I'm moving on and what I'm doing, and also invite you to connect with me so that, if you've enjoyed my content and want to connect with my personal account on Instagram, then I would love to do that, because sharing food, fitness, health, wellness, all of that is something that I have always done for years and years before I had the podcast, and something I will probably continue to do on some level for the rest of my life. So why am I closing down the podcast? Well, pretty simple. I'm closing down my nutrition coaching business. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and it actually goes hand in hand with the fact that I've been thinking about going back into nursing for about 3 years now. I have been thinking of going back and working as a registered nurse in the clinical setting. But life was a bit crazy. I mean, part of the reason that I felt pulled to go back into nursing is because I have been on the other side of the healthcare system with multiple family members over the past few years, giving support and care to a family member who ultimately ended up passing away, supporting other family members with appointments and in all kinds of stuff. We've been in and out of the hospital. It's just been a lot. But one thing that started growing more and more obvious to me is that being a nurse is part of who I am as a person. Being a nutrition coach was an extension of that. And I truly believe once a nurse, always a nurse. You never walk away from it. I know I have a number of nurses who listen here, but your neighbor, your cousin, your mother's best friend. Once people know you're a nurse, they are calling you for your opinion, asking you about things, sending you pictures of various wounds, asking you what they should do. I mean, the number of times I've been asked, should I go to the ER or urgent care? And yeah, it's part of who you are. And even though I have not worked in clinical care, in over 18 years, I worked a 12-hour shift in labor and delivery, and then delivered my first child the next day. That is last time that I worked a full shift in clinical care. I did spend the beginning of my nursing career in maternal child health, maternal fetal medicine, pediatrics, that particular area of nursing, and I absolutely loved it. And I never left nursing because I didn't like being a nurse. I loved being a nurse, but I loved being a mom more. It was a decision that my husband and I made before we had children. We worked very hard to create a financial situation before having children so that I would be able to be a stay-at-home mom after we had children. And even when my kids got older and were in school full time, I ultimately realized I wanted to work in a way that would allow me to have ultimate flexibility and not rely on childcare. And that's how I transitioned into the online space and having an online business since 2015. And that's what I've done. And I feel it's truly always been an extension of my desire to support people with their health, just in a different way. And I am ready to get back to my skills as a registered nurse, and I'm doing something completely different. I am going to be working with adolescents, and I am very, very excited the work that I'm going to be doing. I had a few rules when I decided to make this transition. Number one, that if I didn't find something that really spoke to me, that I wouldn't make this transition, and I would just take it as a sign from the universe that chapter has closed on my life for good, and that, I wasn't going to go back into nursing. But the universe works in interesting ways, and a recruiter reached out to me specifically for this role that I'm taking, and it felt like the right fit on so many levels. And I am really, really excited to make this transition. And the more I have met the staff that I'll be working with, the more that I've started to understand what my role is going to be, the more excited and the more sure I feel about this being the next step for me. So that's where I'm at, and I certainly cannot get into all the nitty-gritty details and everything that has happened that has brought me to this point. But just to say that I feel really, really solid and excited about it. And I said, I'm going to do both and I'm going to balance both. But I will tell you, owning your own business and being responsible for the marketing and the taxes and all those things that goes on behind the scenes, it is my least favorite part of coaching. And my favorite part of coaching is working with my clients on an individual basis. And I have the best clients. All of my clients have become friends on some level. And I just love the people that coaching has brought into my life. So that part I love, but the part where, you have to be on social media, that for me, number one, I am so over social media. I'm not interested in making reels. This podcast has been the area that I've really enjoyed creating content and talking to you guys and sharing these solutions and ideas and helping you think a little bit deeper. And in fact, every single client that I've worked with has come to me from listening to this podcast. So balancing and making decisions and weighing the pros and cons is something that we always have to do when we are contemplating change. And when it came down to it, I really finally just decided last week that it was time to shutter the Macros with Lil business and close it on a high note and move forward towards what is best for me, what is best for my family. I do want to say that the podcast will remain active. I am paying for the podcast to remain on all of the podcast platforms through 2025 because so many of you tell me you love to go back and re-listen to episodes, or maybe you kind of sort of listen to a topic and now you want to dive deeper into it. So these episodes will remain live for you so that you can continue to work on your formula for feeling your best. And I can still support you in this virtual way, I guess. Additionally, I'm going to make available to you all my resources. I'm going to put them in the episode details. You can see, all of the PDFs, the printables, and things like that. So I will be linking that right in the episode details here. I'll just give you the link for free to my Google Drive. You can download and save anything that you think is going to be helpful for you. So I think that is the bulk of the big news. The other thing I do want to say to you on a personal level is so much, the solution is there in my previous episodes. And if you are hoping for someone to whisper in your ear the secret sauce, the thing that is finally going to fix it all for you, I just need you to understand that we all have the secret sauce, and the secret sauce is already inside of you, and you are the solution to your own problems in so many ways. You have so much more power than you think you do. But as long as you keep searching for someone else to fix it for you, or to tell you that it's going to be easy, or that there's just this one food you need to eat, or this one food that you need to stop eating, or there's this one workout that's going to fix everything for you, or you need to stop doing this one type of workout and things will miraculously change. Yeah, that's all BS. At the end of the day, you need to understand that when you gain weight, it's because you're eating too many calories than your body requires. And once you figure out what that balance looks like for you for calories in, calories out, once you start working on your body composition and figure out how to actually build muscle and stop chasing cardio for calorie burn, everything is going to shift for you. But you have to put the brakes on that search for the secret. That secret is inside of you. It is your willingness to be open to doing things differently, to trying things differently, to taking action, and being okay with making a mistake along the way, and not being so obsessed with losing weight, and instead be obsessed with finding your formula for feeling your best. And I have it all laid out for you on this podcast. I would love for you to connect with me on my personal Instagram. The link will be in the episode details. My account is private now, but I'll be sharing as I work through and figure out what the heck my new formula for feeling my best will be. I'll be sharing little snippets of that along the way. And if you're a like-minded person, then yeah, we should be connected and follow each other on Instagram. But ultimately, I just want to thank you. I had no idea back when I started this podcast. I had a broken ankle. I was feeling very overwhelmed and lost, and I've always been someone that wants to be busy, wants to be making an impact, wants to be helping people. And it took courage for me to do that first episode. And I had a terrible microphone, and I was on my couch, and my foot was in the boot. And I just did it anyway. And this podcast became very popular, and I became more confident. I got better equipment, and let that be an analogy for you to just do it messy, do it terribly, and have faith that you will figure it out and get to that place where it is lovely and you can be proud of what you've created. Because if you're waiting for life to be perfect, if you're waiting for the world to be perfect, that's never going to happen, and you are always going to find yourself stuck and getting nowhere. So thank you again. This is the final episode of the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. I'm so proud of what we have accomplished, of those of you who have taken action, made change within yourself, and are still looking to continue to improve yourself in your life, in your health, and be an example to your children, your friends, your family, and start different types of conversations around weight loss and health and wellness and all of those things. And I'm so proud of the impact that this podcast has made in my little corner of the internet. All right, so I really hope you reach out and we can connect on Instagram. And I wish you all the success, all the best, and I appreciate you so much more than you know. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. If you enjoyed the information and discussion we had here today, then make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you're serious about making changes with your nutrition and fitness, then you definitely want to join my weekly newsletter list as well. You can find the link below and more information in the episode details. That's all for today, and we will see you back here next week for a new episode of the Feel Your Best Formula podcast.